Okay. May peace and power elevation be to all of you. This your girl Tiffany coming through live in effect, right here on the StreamYard. So if y'all please excuse me, I'm still like I'm just waking up. So yeah. So today I'm gonna go ahead and do a topic about Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So Mound Bayou, Mississippi is an all black town that was founded by the ex-slaves themselves. So what I want to do is I'm gonna show you guys the picture about Mississippi. This is the town right here. Hold on. Let me see something real fast. Let me see something real quick. All right, as you see, that's the sign that says Bayou, Mississippi. The oldest U.S. all black municipality founded by ex-slaves in 1887. So yes, we're gonna go into the history about this all black town. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna read a few sources, and yeah, one of the sources come from Mississippi Encyclopedia, along with part of the Wikipedia source. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put up some video clips. So let me go back and show you some more pictures, some images. Okay. See, there you go right there. All right, so let me go ahead and get started. As you can see, that's another sign right there. All right. Let me start with Wikipedia first. All right, so Mount Bayou is a city in Belvidere County, Mississippi, United States. The population was 1,533 at the 2010 census, down from 2,102 in 2000. It is notable for having been found as an independent black community in 1887 by former slaves led by Isaiah Montgomery. And let's see, who is Isaiah Montgomery? Okay, so Isaiah Montgomery, ooh, dang. Isaiah Montgomery was the son of Ben Montgomery and his wife, and the founder of Mount Bayou, Mississippi, an all-black community. Soon elected mayor, he was an active Republican politician, and he participated in 1890 Mississippi Constitutional Convention, but was unable to prevent adoption of a state constitution that effectively disenfranchised black voters for decades, using poll taxes and literacy tests to raise barriers to vote registration. Montgomery was thought to promote an accommodative position for African Americans, which was sometimes thought of his colleague on race matters, Booker T. Washington, who became head of Tuskegee Institute. So let's see. Let's look up the picture of Isaiah Montgomery. Hold on. Let's see, who is Isaiah Montgomery. Let me look him up. So Isaiah Montgomery is all right. This is Isaiah Montgomery right here. This is the man who founded the all black town of um of Mount Bayou, Mississippi. That's him. That's the image. Okay, let me see if I can pull that up. All right, that's him right there. Okay, so let's go back to the information. All right. All right, so let's go back to the information. So, Mount Bayou has a 98.6% African American population, majority population, one of the largest in any community in the United States. The current mayor of Mount Bayou is Eula Peterson. All right. So the U.S. Route 61 and 278 bypass Mount Bayou to west and lead south 9 miles to Cleveland, the largest city in Bolivar County, and north 27 miles to Clarksdale. According to the United States Census Bureau, the city of Mount Bayou has a total of 0.9 square miles all land. All right, so here it goes. So let's look at the demographic. So as you can see, as the census of 2000, there were, yes, that's when the the black population was working with the Republicans back then. Yes, there were 2,102 people, 687 households, and 504 families living in the city. The population density was 2,395.1 people per square miles, and there were 723 housing units at an average density of 823.8 per square miles. The racial makeup of the city was 98.43% African American, 0.05% Native American, 0.24% Asian, 0.81% white, 0.05% from other races, and 0.43% from two or more races. Hispanic or Latino or any race were 0.38% of the population. All right, so yeah, that's the population of the house of the city. Let's go down where it says the median income for the household. All right, so the median income for a household in the city was 17,972, and the median income for a family was 19,770. Males had a median income of 21,700 versus 18,988 for females. The per capita income for the city was 8,270. No, wait a minute, 8,227. Wow. About 41.9% of families and 45.6% of the population were below the poverty line, including 58.5% of those under age 18 and 34.5% of those age 65 or over. So that's a little, detailed information about the demographics and whatnot. So we're gonna go into the actual history of how this place came about. So I'm on MississippiEncyclopedia.org. All right, and according to their website, located along U.S. Highway 61 in the central Mississippi Delta, Mound Bayou was at one time the nation's largest and most self-sufficient African-American town, founded in 1887 by cousins Isaiah T. Montgomery and Joshua P. T. Montgomery and Benjamin T. Green, all of whom had been slaves at the Davis Bend Plantation in Warren County. The initial settlers of this once storied community carved out a productive and prosperous standard of living in the midst of what had been, for most African Americans of the period, a uniquely treacherous and unforgiving part of the American South. The prototype for Mound Bayou was the former David Bend Plantation, which, under the administration of Joseph E. Davis, older brother of Jefferson Davis and a devotee of Robert Owen's theories regarding the cultivation of labor pool, allowed for creation of a versatile, self-sufficient cooperative, and pragmatically educated workforce. The Montgomerys and Green gained expertise from their slave era experiences that served the budding town they helped establish. Isaiah Montgomery, Ben Green in business matters, and Joshua Montgomery in the practice of law. Now, see, these were former slaves. These were former slaves that uh, earned their freedoms from slavery, and two became business partners, and one studied law, and they were able to incorporate a town. Let's continue on. In July 1887, Isaiah Montgomery was commissioned to serve as land agent for the Louisville, New Orleans, and Texas Railroad, which sought to build passenger rail links through the heart of the Delta region, but desperately needed towns to create a customer base. Although primarily focused on white settlers, railroad officials also sought to exploit the heretofore untapped possibilities provided by black laborers looking to establish their own communities. This search ultimately led the railroad to recruit Montgomery and a handful of other African American agents. Now, for those who say that, well, where is the black towns? Where? How come we don't have our own cities, etc.? Where there were black towns and there were cities that was founded by black people. There's plenty of them. So, as a matter of fact, I have a book. If you give me one moment, let me go get that book. Okay. So, yes, I have a book that goes into the history about African American towns. It's called the African American Historic Places, right, which is National Park Services. So I can show some information from that, and from there we're gonna start doing more about black towns and information. I mean, histories and stuff like that, and how they came about. But anyways, let me continue on reading. So once all involved agree on an exact location for Mound Bayou settlement in the hinterland of Boulevard, Boulevard County near the Chickasaw burial mounds, some 7 miles west of the Sunflower River and 15 miles east of the Mississippi River. Montgomery set out in search of potential settlers. The first wave brought members of his extended family and included both Joshua Montgomery and Benjamin Green. Isaiah Montgomery eventually targeted other former David's Bend residents, many of whom had worked both with and for the Montgomerys. He later traveled to other parts of the Deep South to entice former slaves to come to Mount Bayou, where they would engage in all too familiar clearing out swamplands, but would now do so for their own benefits. As a result of his inspired planning and recruiting, Montgomery developed an inevitable revenue stream from a combination of commissions and land sales. And as settlers poured in from throughout the region, Montgomery and Green founded the town's only sawmill, another boon for the family coffers. All right. So, as you can see, this former slave himself was able to bring his extended family and former slaves to this town that he founded. And so let's see if I can find some information in this book. All right, so I'm gonna read. I'm gonna continue to read this article here, and then I'm gonna read some of the sources from the book. All right. Under any circumstances, Mount Bayou, nicknamed by its resident the jewel of the Delta, would have been deemed an unmitigated success. But as an African American venture in the center of Mississippi, most productive plantation during the peak years of Jim Crow, its accomplishments were nothing short of miraculous. At a time when few Delta communities could organize themselves effectively, Mount Bayou, through the work of another astute businessman, Charles Banks, developed a thriving business infrastructure, complete with a governing body, banks, merchants, cotton gins, warehouses, and a public school system, all outside the reach of the surrounding white dominant towns. These successes began to draw notice from around the county as Booker T. Washington, Theodore Roosevelt, Andrew Carnegie, Julius Wainsward, and other noted figures became de facto supporters of the town's vast empire. Excuse me, enterprise. In 1942, Mount Bayou became home to the Central Delta's first hospital when the Knights of Tauber, a progressive African American fraternal order, built a 42-bed facility staffed by physicians from the Meharry Medical School in Nashville, Tennessee. With the hospitals, schools, parks, and a small but impressive array of African American professional, Mount Bayou offer hope examples and a central location for many African Americans in the Delta. All right, so let's see. The second half of the 20th century was not nearly as kind to Mount Bayou as an oasis from white-run politics and white-owned business. It was a safe place for some civil rights leaders, especially early in the movement, but a series of business setbacks, fluctuating markets, a mounting antagonism from surrounding areas, and severe political infighting began to wear away at its legacy. And by the late 1960s, the once proud and self-sufficient town had been reduced to the level of many other small struggling Delta communities. Though it remains a part of the Delta landscape, it has yet to regain its status as one of the region's most successful ventures in town building. So, Mound Bayou goes from the historical black town that was thriving at once upon a time, and now it declined. So, real quick, we're gonna look at um the house of Isaiah Montgomery. Let's see if we can find the house. Let's see. All right. So that is the house of Isaiah Montgomery in Boulevard County. That's in Mississippi. And let me show you the title of the book. All right, so this is the title of the book right here. All right. It's called The African American Historic Places. And so in this book, uh, it says that Isaiah Thomas Montgomery House was located on West Main Street in Mound Bayou. And let's see. So it reads in 1912, Montgomery petitioned for a town charter from the governor of Mississippi, and his request was immediately accepted. The IT Montgomery House stands as a symbolic tribute to the progress and development of Mound Bayou and its energetic founder. So the house is currently a historical site. Yep, his house is currently a historical site. Let's look up more information about it. Oh, shit. Let me. Okay, hold on. Okay, so here it is, real quick. We're gonna look at the history about Isaiah Thomas Montgomery House. That's no, I'm sorry, Isaiah Thornton Montgomery's house. Sorry about that. All right, so okay, so that's the house that I showed you guys. Okay, so IT Montgomery House is a historic house on West Main Street in Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Like I told y'all, it was built in 1910, and it was the home of Isaiah Montgomery, and he was a former slave of Jefferson Davis, who was instrumental in founding Mound Bayou, one of the first economically successful towns established by free slaves. And it was declared a National Historic Landmark in 1976 and a Mississippi landmark in 2003. Okay, so here goes the brief history about his home. The IT Montgomery House is located in a residential area south of the Mount Bayou Town Center of the west side of South Main Avenue, midway between Green Street West and West South Street. It is a two-story brick building with a hip roof and an elevated brick foundation. It has a single-story porch extended across its front with a hip roof supported by slab square eroded columns set on brick piers. The porch is reached by a long stair with a right angle turn section project from several of the house sides capped by gables with deep eaves. Okay. So we already, let's go skip down to the part where it says um this house was built for Montgomery in 1910 and was his home until his death. After Montgomery's death in 1924, the home was used for nurses, teachers, and a private residence. So the house is still there, but it's a National Historic Landmark. All right. So it's a National Historic Landmark, but it's still there. Um, Real quick, I want to play you guys something that goes more into depth about the history of oh, wait, why did I hold on? Oops, why did I do that? That goes more into history about Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So just give me a second. Let's go. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and play this video real fast.
Heart rate's 120, BP's 140 over 90. Hectic first day, but earning my nursing degree online gave me the flexibility to fit school into my life.
Hold on. Okay, let me get this commercial ad off of here. All right, so there's the video. I'm gonna go ahead and play it.
To this nation as one of the first established all-black towns, Mound Bayou, Mississippi, founded in 1887, incorporated in 1898 by former slaves, for decades has been known for its rich culture and African American history. I'm Danny Lewis. Join us today as we visit Mound Bayou, Mississippi. Well, I need to pull up the chair. For those of you that just joined us today, we're here in the office of Mayor Darrell Johnson in historical Mound Bayou, Mississippi, one of the first celebrated African American municipality in this entire country. Mayor Johnson, thank you for having us today and welcome to the Talk of the Town. Now, Mayor, take us back to the beginning of Mound Bayou's story.
Well, Mound Bayou has a great rich history. I always say that African very successful plantation called Hurricane and Rye Plantation, who ended up running the plantation because Jefferson Davis' brother, Joe Davis, who owned the plantation and along with Jefferson Davis, opted out to go along with this Robert Owen plan that says, this utopian society, let these guys get their education. And that's what they adopted that. And so they allowed those guys to get education. And those guys on that plantation, they see everybody in education. They studied so strongly. And they ended up being, I say, geniuses. They were agriculture geniuses, they were entrepreneur geniuses, they were engineers. So they were able to draw cities and do the type of things that so much so that that was one of the most successful plantations at that time. And it was actually Montgomery's daddy who ended up running that plantation. And he was revered to be such a strong, intelligent man. And those guys ended up coming to Mound Bayou. Later on, those young men, Isaac Montgomery, and they founded some swampland and turned it into a town. And here we are in Mound Bayou.
So this actual town was founded in what year?
1886. That's when it was founded. It was a swamp full of infested with bears and seals, all type of wild animals. The train ran through it, the train sold them this property, and they turned this into a great.
So now tell us a little bit about the founding father on paper, Mr. Montgomery.
Mr. Montgomery actually was, again, Montgomery and his cousin, Benjamin T. Green, were noted to be the founders of Mound Bayou. And they actually were they were very smart. They actually, to get people to come here, they actually interviewed them. And they wanted to bring people that wanted to do something. And so they got these people that wanted to do something after Reconstruction to come to Mound Bayou as part of this Mississippi Delta, one of the most racist areas they do. But they came here, and this rich group of soul, they raised cotton, prompted better than anybody else in the surrounding area that white farmers as well. That I say were geniuses that really wanted to show what African Americans.
So now, in knowing that this town, this city has a history of producing a lot of success for a lot of different well-known African Americans, such as Mega Evers, to be one.
Mega Evers, we have people that come around like Booker T. Washington used to come into Mound Bayou. He mentored people. He ended up having a bank, one of the first banks, African American banks in the area. And again, like I said, Mega Evers, Dr. T.R. Howard was Mega Evers' mentor. And Mega Evers worked with Dr. T.R. Howard. A lot of people don't know he's one of the unsung heroes of the civil rights movement. He was the one that spoke at Martin Luther King Sr.'s church. And Rosa Parks was sitting out there, and 4 days later, Rosa Parks said, "I'm not giving up on this bus." and investigate this Emmett Till trial, and because of that, Emmett Till now his situation is noted for the starting of the civil rights movement. So Mound Bayou is noted for a whole lot that a lot of people don't know about.
Now we have modern day congressman who is actually one of the only black African American congressman in from the state of Mississippi, Benny Thompson. He has roots here as well.
Well, Benny Thompson's parent from Mound Bayou used to come to Mound Bayou and go in London Johnson, whose parents owned one of the local stores here. And he ended up taking London, and that's his
Found
wife.
his sweetie here.
That's exactly right.
And also, you have a brother that's a well-known musician because the Mississippi Delta is known, obviously, for its rich history and foundation of the blues. A lot of great blues musicians. But your brother, who is a well-known blues musician, is from this area.
He's a drummer, and he's actually the think tank behind the Delta Music Institute in Delta State. And that's the Delta Institute is the one who's bringing the Grammy Museum into Cleveland, Mississippi. But actually, before the Grammy Museum, before Delta Music Institute, was Joe Eagle and Eagle Academy, which was the think tank. The ones who really started the Delta Music Institute were the ones who got the idea from Joe Eagle, who was mentored by some great people before him.
You have a picture here that I believe has Emmett Till's mother on it. You want to talk a little bit about
Well,
that?
after the murder, which was just a few miles from here, after the murder of Emmett Till, they had to be a safe haven, a safe place where blacks could come dealing with that situation because at that time, blacks had to come had to be fair with the action that was being taken against blacks by some of the racist people in the area. And Dr. T.R.M. Howard, successful at that time. They were celebrating. It was a black sheriff, black mayor, black business owners, black everything here. And then you had all these things that was happening against black people all around. So Dr. T.R.M. Howard, who was the medical director at the hospital here in Mound Bayou, also was a very highly charismatic speaker. And he would go around and speak in different places. He was the one that mainly came and stayed here as he began to spawn this investigation of what happened to Emmett Till.
Now, Dr. Howard is on this particular picture, which
There's Dr. Howard right in the middle with the bow tie on. He's holding on to the arm of
Okay. So anyways, yeah, that concludes the video about Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So as you can see, it was a thriving town, and also there was a lot of things that was going down. You had, I mean, just Mississippi alone. The incident with Emmett Till where he was found dead, and also not to mention that you had the freedom fighters. It was the home of Medgar Evers, and we'll talk more about Medgar Evers later on. Um, so yeah, I just wanted to give the history and origin behind Mount Bayou, Mississippi. So someone asked the question on here. Let's see. All right, somebody asked the question: are those towns attractive to young professionals? If not, what can be done to increase activities in those towns attracted to young professional entrepreneurs? Now, as of today, we don't know. I don't. I haven't seen any information about it being attractive to young professionals. Um, let's see if I can look that up real fast. Let's see if I can look up. All right, so let me go back real quick. Let's see what they're talking about as far as education is concerned. Um, let's see right here. I don't know how to be able to answer that question. I don't know if there. I haven't seen any article or any information where if there's young professionals who are interested, and the only thing I could say that can inspire people to become entrepreneurs and professionals okay, well, it's not letting me do anything. Anyways, I was trying to get this icon off here. But anyways, to answer that question, um the all right. So to answer the question about what can be done to attract young professionals and entrepreneurs, um the only thing that could really attract them is, first and foremost, you really got to study the history of the towns and study the previous information of those who have became entrepreneurs and who started their own businesses or who had created their own towns, and learn from their foundation. But it's a modern time, so things are upgraded. Of course, you're going to have to go through the process of being able to incorporate a town. So from there, we don't know how attractive the young professionals are, uh, to towns like Mound Bayou, Mississippi. We don't know. I mean, I don't have the answer to that. But what can be done is to give more exposure and more information regarding to Black historical towns and its predecessors, and how they founded the areas and what did they do to bring about the accomplishment of these towns or whatnot. So people have to study. People not only have to study, but they also have to study about economics. They will have to study about the politics. They will have to study about social economics. So it's a lot that comes with it when it comes to deal with those type of field of profession and entrepreneurship. If you really, especially if you really talking about having your own towns, you will have to study what it would take in as far as like how to build up the economics, how to be more political, and the social economics. And I hope that answered the question. So real fast, let me look at the educational background. Okay, so right here, education. From its earliest years, Mount Bayou has struggled with inadequate educational infrastructure. According to a 1915 report in the Cincinnati Labor Advocate, Mount Bayou's school was attended by more than 300 students who were forced to make use of equipment held to be inadequate for 50 pupils. Teachers at the school were poorly paid, and the school year limited to only 5 months. Today, the city of Mount Bayou is served by the North, which operates IT Montgomery Elementary School and John F. Kennedy Memorial High School in Mount Bayou. On July 1st, 2014, the North Bolivar School District consolidated with the Mount Bayou Public School District to form the North Bolivar Consolidated School District. So, as we can see of today, the town is not as thriving as it was. So it's pretty much declining. I mean, you still have African Americans that's holding on, but it's not where it used to be when it first began, when it first was founded by IT Montgomery and whatnot. So yeah, this is very important that we really get exposure and learn more about our history and how we came so far. It goes beyond slavery. It goes beyond Kemet. It goes just beyond, spirituality. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things that we have done and that has been yet to be exposed into the light. So it's up to us to continue to preserve our history and preserve those information. And I want to lead out with this. Your legacy is what people going to honor. So if a person may not know you personally, they will know what you have done, and they will continue to pass on those information. So with that being said, continue to be open-minded and continue to study. Learn more about your history. Learn more about what your people have did. Embrace your culture, not only just your African lineage, but also the African American lineage as well. Embrace that and be proud of that. So with that being said, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to log off of here. And I thank you guys for watching. Again, excuse my appearance. So, I want you guys to take it easy and be safe during this pandemic. And I will continue to come up with more videos dealing with, with more information dealing with African American history and African history on a chronological level. That means the day that a history event took place and etc. So that's what I'm gonna do. And plus I'm gonna still deal with general topics on top of that. So I'm gonna keep you guys posted. And if you are on my YouTube channel, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the channel. If you are watching from YouTube, if you are watching from Facebook, go ahead and share this video on Facebook. You're more than welcome to do so. Until then, may peace and power elevation be to all of you. And I'm gonna lead you out with some good music, which is house music actually. So peace.